This week, the Pittsburgh Steelers travel to Foxborough, Massachusetts to take on Drake Maye and the New England Patriots in Week 3. What really feels like a must-win for the Steelers in the sense of they need to get right, all right? The first 2 weeks, very sloppy, both sides of the football. Certain concerns are out there surrounding the Steelers, not just on the offensive side of the ball where there was expected to be some hiccups, but also on the defensive side of the ball where, frankly, it has just not looked good through the first 2 weeks of the season. So hopefully the Steelers can turn things around here in Week 3. But we're going to be going live for this game. We're going to be going live at 12 p.m. Eastern Time this Sunday. An hour of pregame coverage, followed by live play-by-play, and then extensive post-game coverage for Steelers versus Patriots. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already for all of our game previews here on Steelers Talk. As you're going to see throughout this video, we go pretty in-depth on these game previews. We also go live for every single game with our watch parties, and then we have post-game reactions for every single Steelers game as well. For noon games, we actually have 2 post-game shows that go out after the game is over. So make sure you click that subscribe button for the most extensive Steelers coverage you're going to find here on the YouTube platform. All right, so now let's get into this matchup here. Gillette Stadium on Sunday, the 1-1 matchup here between the Steelers and the New England Patriots. Patriots beat the Miami Dolphins last week. Steelers beat the New York Jets in Week 1. In terms of the losses, the Steelers lost to the Seahawks last week at Acrisure Stadium, and the Patriots lost Week 1 to Geno Smith and the Las Vegas Raiders. We'll start here with the injuries for the Pittsburgh Steelers. The guys that we know are going to be out this week. DeShon Elliott, the strong safety, still dealing with that knee injury. Alex Highsmith just suffered a high ankle sprain. He'll be out a month or a month and a half. It sounds like. And then Isaiah Loudermilk, similar timetable with the high ankle sprain himself, will also be out for this football game. Some injuries to watch this week. Derrick Harmon, there's some conflicting reports about when he's expected to be back. The Steelers did not put him on IR, so there's some whispers he could be back for this game, but we got to keep an eye on him with that knee injury he suffered in the preseason. Joey Porter Jr. Has been dealing with a hamstring issue. Has only played really a half a game versus the Jets and missed last week versus Seattle. And Christian Gonzalez missed time last week with an injury, missed the game. And then you got Keion White, who missed the game with an illness for New England last week. So you take a look at the coaching breakdown and the scheme breakdown for the New England Patriots. Mike Vrabel is back as a head coach in the National Football League here with the Patriots. And he's got a very good coaching record, 55-46. Led multiple teams to the playoffs. He led the Tennessee Titans, Arthur Smith's former head coach there in Tennessee, to a number 1 seed over teams like Kansas City, over teams like Cincinnati, over teams like the Buffalo Bills with Ryan Tannehill as his quarterback, right? So Vrabel, very well known as a culture builder. It's very much what he is. You're going to get a fight from this New England Patriots team on Sunday, guys, no matter what the score is. The scheme for the offense, Josh McDaniels is their offensive play caller and coordinator. He runs an Earhart-Perkins system, puts a lot of onus on the quarterback to get in the right protections, make switches at the line of scrimmage. Very vast umbrella of audible checks for the quarterback as well. We'll talk about later in the show. Then on defense, Terrell Williams is their defensive play caller and coordinator, but he missed last week with an issue that the Patriots are not disclosing. So keep that in mind. It might not be him calling the plays, but they do run a multiple attacking front. They get a lot of their stuff from the Belichick system with 3-4 front, with cover 1, cover 3 stuff, a vast array of stuff, lots of cover 0 as well from this Patriots group. So the results so far for the New England Patriots, they lost Week 1 to the Las Vegas Raiders by a score of 20-13. Geno Smith had a hell of a day throwing the football that day, and then they won in Week 2 versus the Miami Dolphins in kind of a shootout there. 33-27 was the score for the Pats. So that is what they've done so far. And then we can take a look at the Patriots roster where you got Drake Maye as their starting quarterback. And their offensive line has certainly been in a tumultuous situation for many years, and that it has extended to this year. Will Campbell is their starting left tackle. He's got really kind of tiny baby arms, all right? So whoever your longest edge rusher is, whether that's Alex Highsmith, Nick Herbig, well, I guess Highsmith can't play, but between Herbig and Watt, I would put whoever has the longest arms on him and try to take advantage of that because he's got one of the shortest wingspans in NFL history for a starting offensive tackle, but very highly technically sound. So you're going to have to win with length to make it a tough day on Campbell. But then Jared Wilson is their left guard, another rookie. So definitely can take advantage of that. Garrett Bradbury, decent run blocker, but not a good pass protector. So Wilson and Bradbury is really the weakness in terms of pass protection on that line that you can take advantage of. And then Mike Onwenu, very, very good right guard. That's one of the bright spots on this offensive line with Morgan Moses, former teammate of Aaron Rodgers. Is playing right tackle for the New England Patriots right now. Then you got Stephon Diggs as their number one receiver. Keion Boutte has been a pretty decent weapon for Drake Maye. He's got good chemistry with him. And then Demario Douglas, Pop Douglas, as their slot wide receiver. Pretty decent trio of receivers there. It's definitely not bad, all right? So Drake Maye does have some weapons to work with here. Ramondre Stevenson is their number one running back with Hunter Henry as their tight end. But watch out for rookie Travion Henderson out of Ohio State. He's also in the mix in this Patriots offense. But then you go to the defensive side of the ball. Keion White, he dealt with an illness last week. We'll see if he's able to go, but he is one of their starting edge rushers. And then you got Harold Landry as another starting edge here in New England. Milton Williams had a hell of a game against Miami last week. You got to really do a good job protecting him. Or protecting Aaron Rodgers from him, I should say. And then Christian Barmore, a little bit of a slow start to his season coming off a major injury. But when he is on, he is one of the best defensive tackles in football. In terms of the off-ball backers, Robert Spillane, somebody Steelers fans should be very well aware of. Very good tackler, very aggressive player. Played really well for the Las Vegas Raiders over the last several years before coming here to New England. Then Christian Ellis, a very athletic linebacker. So pretty decent linebacking group here for the New England Patriots. Then you get to the secondary where you got Christian Gonzalez. He will be questionable, it sounds like, this week. We'll see if he's able to go. And then Carlton Davis, another really good player on the outside. So if both of these guys can go, it's going to be tough to win on the outside. But Marcus Jones, another decent player in the slot. But then the safeties is really where the Patriots kind of falter. Jaylen Hawkins and Craig Woodson, two very young players, very raw players that are getting some very very big playing time minutes here for the New England Patriots. So you can definitely take advantage of that safety duo if you can beat one of their corners. And if Christian Gonzalez can't go, it looks like it will once again be Alex Austin, who started last week versus Miami and just got absolutely toasted by Jaylen Waddle, as well as Tyreek Hill. So Alex Austin, definitely somebody to keep your eye on here. If Christian Gonzalez can't go, definitely got to take advantage of him. So still to come here on Steelers Talk in our preview here for Week 3. Keys to victory versus the Patriots. We got my scouting report on Drake Maye, the starting quarterback for the Patriots, and my Week 3 score prediction coming up here in just a second. But if you guys want to get an Aaron Rodgers Steelers jersey, now is a great time to do that while also helping out our channel. You can go chatsports.com/AR8. That link is in the comments and description of today's show. And if you click that link and you make a purchase, Fanatics, our sponsor today, sends us part of the proceeds of that purchase. So if you guys want a great price on an Aaron Rodgers Steelers jersey, officially licensed by the NFL, by the way, you can go chatsports.com/AR8 to pick up your Aaron Rodgers Steelers jersey today. So first, key to victory. I got 6 of them this week, all right? Kind of a shorter list than our first 2 previews, but I think that it's pretty short and sweet, all right? First thing you got to do on defense is make life hard for Drake Maye, all right? And Drake is somebody that has played, I think, pretty darn well to this point in his career, given the circumstances. I mean, the environment that he was thrown into last year with a bad head coach, bad offensive play caller, terrible O-line, no weapons, and he put up the numbers that he did last year, and then the start that he's had this year, it's been pretty darn impressive, man. Over 70% completion percentage, over 250 yards passing per game with 4 touchdowns to just 1 interception. The interception was pretty ugly in Week 1, by the way, but he's got a passer rating over 100. So Drake Maye, definitely a problem. He's going to be a problem in this conference for a while. But, something to keep in mind here, though, guys, is that Las Vegas and Miami definitely don't have the best of defenses, all right? The Raiders might have the worst secondary in the league, and then the Miami Dolphins might have the second worst secondary in the league. This is not, 2 great defenses that he's been picking apart. It's been a good start for him, but he definitely hasn't seen anything like the talent, at least, that the Steelers have on defense. So hopefully Mike Tomlin and the crew here can stop Drake Maye. But the scouting report here on Maye, I think he's got terrific size, great arm talent, plus athleticism. So you got to keep an eye on him in terms of the rushing ability. Playmaking instincts out of structure are really good as well. This kid will make some throws that you just simply will not believe. He's got great touch throwing the ball down the field and in an intermediate level of the field. But the cons, sometimes he's got some inconsistent accuracy and decision making. He's still a work in progress in both of those things. Some of the accuracy issues do come from a lack of footwork, refinement for him. So I have him ranked currently going into the season as the 16th best quarterback in the National Football League. I think he really elevated that Patriots offense last year, and he's already off to a really good start here in 2025. But also keep in mind here, guys, that Mike Tomlin has been very successful versus young quarterbacks throughout his career, all right? Like first and second year quarterbacks, I can't exactly remember the record here, but Mike Tomlin, like the record with first and second year quarterbacks, it's really, really good for his defenses and for his team. So just keep that in mind with a second year quarterback going up against the Steelers defense here this week, that Mike Tomlin usually does a pretty darn good job facing quarterbacks for the first time they face one of his defenses. But then, a big issue here, and, deservingly so, that people are upset with the Steelers right now is you got to stop the run. And this week is a great opportunity to stop the bleeding when it comes to the run defense, because the offensive line in New England isn't fantastic. And, Ramondre Stevenson's all right, but, is he a fantastic, dynamic type of running back? Like maybe Breece Hall is, and Kenneth Walker when he's healthy can be. I'm not too sure, but the guy that's kind of the slasher kind of prototype that is similar to Breece Hall, that is similar to Kenneth Walker on this Patriots team, is rookie Travion Henderson. And he had some moments where he looked super explosive in the preseason. So you got to keep tabs on Travion Henderson. You got to do some good things in terms of the run defense. And there's certain switches that I would make if I were the Steelers coaching staff to try and make this run defense the best it can possibly be. The first thing that I would do is I would move Maye, the rookie out of Iowa, to nose tackle. He's over 330 pounds. He's got long arms. He can handle, the two gapping assignments. He can handle the double teams. He can handle holding up the line of scrimmage. That role that Keion Benton is currently asked to fill most of the time in this Steelers defensive scheme, it's just not working out. So, I think Maye needs to step in there. You can put Keanu on the field in more of like a disruptive type of role, like in the 5-tech spot, or maybe even in the 3-tech spot. But like in the 1-tech spot at nose tackle, it's just not good enough, man. He's getting driven backwards. That can't be allowed to happen in the middle of your run defense structure. And Maye, I think, is the best suited to replace his spot in that role. Showed some good things in the first 2 weeks as a run defender that I want to see more of. And then also, if Derrick Harmon can play in this game, he needs to impress right away, man. Like, he's a big boy, over 310 pounds himself. He was known as a pretty darn good and disruptive run defender at Oregon. And, he might need to be that big-time impact player on the interior of the defensive line right away, coming off an injury for this Steelers defense. If guys like Maye, Keion Benton, and others can't pick up the slack in the run defense game. And then also another thing that I think the Steelers should do, and just needs to happen, is Peyton Wilson needs to tighten up big time if he wants to stay in this role as a 3-down starter at inside linebacker. I was super excited to see what he's going to look like in this role. He's got guys like Luke Kuechly and Patrick Queen in his corner saying he looks unbelievable in training camp and stuff like that. And he just comes out and he's just not good at all in run defense in the first 2 weeks, taking poor pursuit angles. He's out of position, abandoning his run fit. It's just not good enough through the first 2 weeks. Now, it certainly doesn't help when your nose tackle is getting pushed into your lap. I'm not saying that makes it easy, but that certainly doesn't excuse all the mistakes that we have seen from Peyton Wilson in the run game to this point. If he can't get it right, I would put Cole Holcomb out there in early down run situations to replace him. Then we get to the offensive side of the ball, talking about Jaylen Warren. Feed this guy, man. I mean, goodness gracious, this guy had more than half of your offensive production in week 2 versus Seattle. He's an awesome threat as a receiver, like a legitimate receiving threat out of the backfield. Like, he runs good routes, he catches the football, and he's awesome after the catch, man. Phenomenal contact balance, some of the best in the league, really great cutting ability. He's got phenomenal vision. Whether it's on the ground or whether it's through the air, find ways to get the football in this guy's hands, because I think at this point he's probably the best offensive player on the Steelers' offensive roster right now. Then we get to the idea of getting back to play action. I mean, all 3 of the non-touch pass touchdowns from Aaron Rodgers in week 1 versus the Jets were on play action. There just wasn't enough of that under center work from Rodgers in week 2, in my opinion. There was a lot of shotgun and a lot of empty and all that stuff, and there's a time and place for that stuff, but Arthur Smith and this offense's bread and butter, I think, really needs to come from the play action game. You want to establish that run with Jaylen Warren first, and you want to force these defenses to really bite on that play action fake. There's not a lot of quarterbacks in this league with as good of a play action fake as Aaron Rodgers does, which creates some really big open lanes for Rodgers to exploit. So if Rodgers is looking for more open options, look towards the play action game here and try to get that under center work going early and often and work the play action game off of that. Another thing that I would do if I'm the Steelers here this week is work the slot. And I don't think the Steelers did this enough last week. Now, I think that the Seattle Seahawks did a pretty decent job with their backup replacing Devon Witherspoon in the slot. I think he did a pretty decent job last Sunday, but this week, man, especially if Christian Gonzalez is out of there, like, you guys can really take advantage of that slot position, whether it's Calvin, whether it's Roman, whether it's Jonnu in there. Find creative ways to get people open from the slot position, and find ways to get your tight ends involved in the passing game as well. Pat Freiermuth, catch the damn ball, all right? Calvin Austin third, get open from that slot position. Roman Wilson, get involved, man. Show us that, you deserve to be a part of this offense. So I think that that's probably the area that the Steelers offense should work most towards, especially when they go man coverage. And then the final thing here, guys, is to avoid dumb mistakes, all right? This is what killed the Pittsburgh Steelers last week. All right, if you take away just the really outlier, weird stuff that you're not going to see every week type of mistakes from the Steelers, that 3rd and 19, 3rd and goal run from Kenneth Walker, the weird touchdown given up by Caleb Johnson, and then, of course, the weird interception from Calvin Austin III. I don't expect those three kinds of mistakes to happen every single week. And if you take those away, the Steelers might win that football game versus the Seattle Seahawks for as bad as they played for certain stretches in that ball game. So I think that this Steelers team, extremely competitive, and they are a good football team when they are playing the way that they can play. And if you can avoid those mistakes in this game, I think you are more talented than the New England Patriots, and I think there's no excuse for Pittsburgh to lose this game. Is Drake Maye an up-and-coming, really good quarterback? Absolutely, all right? But this offensive line, it's not great. The Steelers' pass rush, I mean, they're getting paid what they're getting paid for a reason here, guys, and they need to start proving that they are getting paid what they're getting paid for a reason, all right? They got to be better in run defense. They need to be better blitzing. They need to be better in pass coverage on the back end. They need to be better all around on defense this week, and this is an excellent opportunity to build some confidence, build some chemistry, fix some issues that have been there on the film the first 2 weeks, and get right. And I'm going to pick the Steelers to do just that. I don't think it'll be a blowout. I don't think the Steelers are going to completely dominate this game, but I think that they will gut out a good victory here. 27-21 is the score that I'm going to pick. I think Drake Maye will have multiple touchdowns in this game. I think that the run game, specifically Travion Henderson, will have some success at times, but I do think that we will continue to see improvement from the Steelers defense. And yes, the Steelers defense did improve from week 2 to week 1. It might not feel like it because they lost the football game, but they did get a lot better. Maybe not a lot, but they did get better from week 2 to week 1. Hopefully they take another step forward as a group here this week. Hopefully, guys like Derrick Harmon and Joey Porter Jr. can play to help that effort out. But I think that the offense will have a bounce-back game, and I think that they will score 27 points, obviously. I will go 27-21. Steelers win for a big bounce-back victory for the black and gold. So it's your turn. Let me know down there in the comment section. Predict the score of Steelers versus Patriots this week. Let me know what you guys think down there in the comment section. I got 27-21 Steelers. Let me know your take down there in the comment section. And that'll be it for today's edition of Steelers Talk. Thank you guys so much for joining me here on today's show. I will catch you guys next time. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.